Hey guys, what is poppin'? It's your girl Tawana, aka T, where everyone's been in the day, and I am back with another video. If you're new here, then welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning in to another one of my videos. So today, we are going to be talking about something that is a bit personal to myself, and that is my life regrets up to the age of 27. You're probably wondering why it's at the age of 27 and not 28, because if you guys have watched my recent vlog, you would have known I just turned 28. But I've just started this 28 chapter, and I haven't got any life regrets to add to that list, so I'm going to keep it at 27. Because I originally made the first original post whilst I was 27, so I'm gonna stick with that title, but I am 28 at the time of recording this video. So yeah, what kind of sparked this video was I posted it on TikTok and it done really well. I think it's at 12k views, and I still get likes, I still get comments, I still get favorites, and the views are still climbing, so it could potentially be more by the time I edited this. So I thought, like, why not share it on this platform too, because my community is basically the same, so maybe me sharing my regrets in life can spark some relatability with you guys and just show you guys that, like, you're not the only one that kind of goes through life regrets. We are all going through it. If you guys are interested to hear about my life regrets across 27 years of my life, then stay tuned for the video.
If you know exactly what I wanna do, then I'ma get a business too.
You could bet that, never gotta sweat that. You could bet that, never gotta sweat that. You could bet that, never gotta sweat that. You could bet that.
So no dilly-dallying, we're just gonna jump straight in. PS, or disclaimer I should say, if you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm looking at my iPad, which is covering all my notes to make sure I address every single regret that I posted on TikTok. This video is just basically gonna be a bit more of an in-depth version of that TikTok, so if you guys wanna go back to the original TikTok, I will link it in the description. But we are gonna start off with my first regret, which was rushing to university. It's very funny because I feel like there was clear signs that I was not ready or supposed to go to uni, and I was getting so much backlash from going to uni, but I was so adamant to go to make sure I was going with my generation or my year group that I forced going to uni. So essentially what happened on my uni journey was I wanted to be a midwife at first. I applied for midwifery. I was successful in all my interviews in terms of getting the interviews. However, I got 5 declines from all of my unis, and it was all because of my age. Every single midwife interview I got at university, I was the youngest in the room at 19. Everyone else was experienced nurses come to do a midwifery degree, or they were older people who would potentially take their degree more serious, and that's kind of what I got a lot. It had nothing to do with my grades, it had nothing to do with my education or my knowledge. It was just that I am young and I could always apply next year, which is basically age discrimination in a sense, but I hear it. Midwifery is a very tough course to get into. There's very limited spaces, so I understand why. But that was like my first sign to like chill. I then decided to change my course because I just love science, so I just thought go into healthcare. I then changed my course to diagnostic radiography, and I went through clearing, and I got another decline before I got accepted into the University of Hertfordshire. And even that, it was hell getting accommodation and all of the next steps after I got accepted. I also wasn't entitled to student loan at that time, because back then NHS courses were free, and because you didn't have any debt to pay, you didn't get student loan. Basically, you couldn't apply for student loan. I was entitled to a bursary because obviously I was living with my mum at the time, who was a single parent, so I was entitled to bursary. But apart from that, like, the bursary wasn't a lot. Like, it would help me to get to and from like the hospital and commutes and stuff like that, but it wasn't enough to be like living on campus and partying like some of my peers were when they got their full student loan. I then ended up regretting going, and I ended up dropping out, and I ended up hating the degree that I switched to, and it was just like my biggest regret. Like, I wish I just never rushed into it. I wish I did take a year out and maybe did some work or really figure out what it was that I wanted to do, which was really construction, which is where I work now. So I wish I did take a pause. I wish I did wait a little bit longer, and I wish I didn't rush to uni because everybody else was going to uni. I just wish I took time to really figure out what it is I wanted to do and really assess if healthcare was for me. Yeah, so kind of wasted 2 years of my life studying a degree I don't use. So yeah, that's kind of my first regret. I thought the lessons that came from it is just take your time. Like, your path and your friend's paths and your peers' paths are all different. Some people know from young what they want to do. Some people just take that little bit longer to figure it out. And if you are that person that takes a little bit longer, it's fine. If you need another year or 2 gap years to really figure out what it is that you want to do, that you can pour into it and be successful, then do that. I wish I didn't do the 2 years and took maybe a 2-year gap year to figure out that I wanted to really go into construction, or maybe even 1 year, and then really figured out, yeah, I'm gonna go into construction, and then went into construction a year after the year gap year, so I would have graduated earlier, because I graduated construction 2 years ago, whereas if I didn't go to the uni and take another gap year after the 2 years, which is 3 years basically, I would have been graduated 3 years ahead, if that makes sense. So, but again, I feel like that was the path I was supposed to take. So there are key lessons I've learned from it. But yeah, one of my biggest, still, I think it is my biggest regret to this day, is rushing to uni. The second regret of my life would be, I would say, was becoming so fixated on making a lot of money. Like, I had this mindset for a very long time that I was going to be like a millionaire, the first millionaire in my family, and a part of me, I still do believe that, let me not even lie. But I feel like where I regretted this was, there was a very, I don't want to say long period, but it was a decent period of my life, a couple years, maybe 3 to 4 years, where I became so fixated on making a lot of money, and that was the end all. I used to work stupid hours, like I'm talking 70 hours a week. I don't even know if that's legal, but in the bookies, anything is fucking possible. I used to work like 70 hours. I used to get terrible sleep. I used to suffer from insomnia. Then I became depressed and my mental health started to deteriorate. It was because everything at that time was just about making money. How can I make my next pound coin? How can I bring in the next buck? Like, that was it. I didn't socialize with friends. I barely saw them. When events or parties was going on, because I was working in the bookies, which is like open 7 days a week, on the weekends, my weekends would get neglected. Plus I was studying. So all of that pressure on me it just made me depressed and deteriorate over time. And I slowly became unhealthy. I started losing weight. I started to lose my appetite. I started to like just become very isolated because I was so fixated on making so much money. And that's not what life's about at the end of the day. You can live your life and build at the same time. And I feel like I wish I had that concept from earlier, because I might not have neglected certain things like socializing with friends, going to certain like gatherings and with my peers and stuff like that, and maybe certain holidays and stuff. I done on these stuff like quite late, and I feel like letting go of that fixation of money has made me so much happier as a person. Don't get it twisted, I want to make some money, I want to buy some nice stuff, but being fixated on it like it's the end all is so unhealthy. And I'm glad that I've let go of that mindset now, and I believe that I will make my money the way God wants me to make my money and the right way, and I feel like it will just happen naturally. Whereas being fixated on it and chasing it like a dog, oh no, I had to let that go, especially for my physical and mental well-being. So that was my second regret in life. Sticking to the topic of money, my third regret was using my savings to help others more than myself. This one's kind of deep. So in the end, me working all of those long hours did pay off. Like, I had a good amount of savings, I had a couple investments, and it was going well. I was doing well financially, probably more than like my age, if that makes sense, my average age group. And that's just because I didn't have a social life. But what it did make me, it made me a little bit gullible, because my peers or people around me wasn't making that money or didn't have that kind of money saved or in their savings or whatever. I helped out a lot of people financially, and unfortunately, like, that was never repaid. I never got that kind of support back, and that's not to say I needed it, but there were times where money did get tight down the lines, and especially when I went back to study and I paid for my first year of uni. When I went back to study construction, like, my money did become a little bit tight, but because I had helped out so many people and given my savings to so many people to help out, I didn't have that for myself when I needed it. And that was one of my biggest regrets. Like, we can always help people when they're in their time of need. I'm not saying don't do that. I think it's really good if you have that money there to help someone financially and you trust that they will repay the favor, then absolutely do that. But I feel like for me, I was younger and I wasn't aware of what I'm aware now, and that money just went to waste. I never got it back. I never got paid back. I never saw a dime. And when it became the other way around, when I needed support, it was never there. And people used to make me feel guilty for having savings and for having money in my bank account, and made me kind of support their less financially stable self for a while. So what I wish I had done was love myself more, to understand that I need to protect my circumstances and what I'm going on. That money was in my savings for investments and rainy days. It wasn't there to dip in and help other people. At the end of the day, I could have used my normal wages and supported them maybe with a fraction of the money that they needed, instead of, you know, just being to one another the lovable and wanting to help their people person, if that makes sense. So, because again, I went back to uni, as you guys are aware, and I had to pay for my first year because I really used 2 years. So because I had to pay for my first year, that means I had to pay like the 9,900 and whatever it is by myself, which I did. But I had to, I don't want to say scavenge, but with my original savings, I would have been able to pay for that without like the support. but I had to get support because I had eaten so much into my savings, and it wasn't like a lot of support, but the fact that I had to go ask for help financially, and at that time I was not comfortable with asking for help, and I feel like I didn't have anyone reliable to ask for help. But I always thank God for my one friend, he knows who he is, who gave me the last bit of the money that I needed to get through my first year, which was like about 1,500 he gave me, and I paid the rest. My closest friends at the time couldn't do that, and that's why I regret like using my savings to help others, because when I actually needed that kind of level of money for myself, I didn't have it. That's why I regret like using my savings to help people more than myself. I would always make myself come last, and that's why I come on this channel today and I share like why it's so important to put yourself first. Everything is about self on here, because if you don't, no one else will. Everyone else is so centered around their own life, which they should, so you should be the same. So I learned it the hard way, which is why I come on this platform and share that journey with you guys. But that was definitely one of my biggest regrets. But money comes and goes, so I'm not holding anything against these people. I don't chase them down for money. It is what it is. The money's gone. I'm not getting it back. Well, I'm getting it back, but in the blessings that God's gonna give me, and not through me chasing them down. My next regret, which is probably gonna be a bit controversial, whatever, however you say it, because this will not apply to all. This will only apply to a specific group of people, and that is not buying my dream performance car earlier. So all my car lover people, you guys will probably understand this more from where I'm coming from, but the non-car people, you'll probably understand where the other people are coming from. Basically, if you know me and you follow me on social media, I have a thing for cars. I've always loved cars from young. I think I've got it from my dad from when he had an M3 back in the day, and I was like sitting in the car and wanted to go enjoy rides. But like I've always had a thing for cars. Like I would watch Car Wow from early, like before Car Wow was Car Wow what it is today. I used to watch so many like videos just on cars. Like I was obsessed with cars. It was like a secret passion I had. And if you had me on Snapchat, you guys would see I would put on my story like different cars, different makes and models and stuff that I like, and you know, criticize and all these things. But yeah, that's for me to say. From a young age, I got my license and I could afford a car, and I got a small car first, a little, not too big, not too bossy. It was a Polo. It was an 18 plate Polo, and that was my first car, and I got that at 22. That was my first car, and then I was very happy with it. I had it for a while, and then I wanted to upgrade to a performance car kind of thing. So probably like a GTI level, S3, M140s, or that M lights, I should say, like that kind of bracket there. And I remember like I wanted to get the 135 in my car, so I got an F40, which is basically a 1 Series, the new 1 Series. It's basically the car I have now, but it's the performance level, which is the M135i. The 140 got discontinued. I wanted that car, but I allowed people who are not into cars to speak me out of it. I used to get so many questions like, why do you want that much power? What are you gonna do? Drive to the moon? Like, what is this for? Like, 20 miles per hour roads, like you're not going to use that power, it's going to be expensive, it's fuel and this and that. And like in my head I'm just like, you know what, maybe people are right, like maybe I don't need this, like maybe I can, you know, wait a little bit. But like there was always this itch in me that wanted the performance car. There was always this, like there's still a part of me that's itching to have a performance car now, and it would have been like the best decision I ever made, because like now I kind of regret not doing it. I love my car, don't get it twisted, but I wish I had got the performance car and not let people speak me out of it, because at the end of the day it was my passion, it was what I'm interested in, it was my money that was going to pay for it. It still is going to be my money when I get it next. It's going to be my money that's paid for it, the insurance, the road tax, the insurance, the monthly payments, everything's going to be me. No one else is paying for it. So it's like, why did I let someone who's not into that talk me out of it? Do you know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. I feel like growing up, especially my younger years, I don't want to say I didn't have a mind of my own, but I was easily like influenced. Like I let people suppress like my dreams and things that would happen like quite easily, which is why again I started this journey of me pouring into myself, like what does Tawana want and not what does other people want. And I can never explain to someone who's not into cars why I would want like 360 or 380 brake horsepower under my foot. Like I can't explain it to you. If you know, you know. Like if you enjoy the thrill of cars and all of these kind of things, you know why you'd want that kind of power under your foot. I just wish I hadn't allowed like people to talk me out of it, because I would be driving the car I want to drive right now, and I'd be like happy, like over the moon kind of thing. I know that sounds a little bit ungrateful. I'm more than grateful for my car, because there's so many people that can't get a car, especially like a 20 plate car. There's so many people that can't get approved for these things. There's so many people that can't because of insurance and stuff like that. So I'm grateful in that sense, but I still wish I didn't let people talk me out of getting my M135i that I wanted at the time. It is what it is. So for any of my car lovers or car girls out there that are interested in cars or whatever, and you're contemplating whether to get a performance car, if you can afford it, and I mean like afford it, I'm not talking about the finance payments, I'm talking about petrol, road tax, fuel's a big one, insurance, all of that, and the maintenance, because the maintenance is what's going to really take it up a notch. Those are the things you need to think about, not the monthly payments. It's everything else. If you can do the numbers on that and you are comfortable with paying those figures, go get your car. Go and get it. Like, don't get twisted. Like, I'm in the process of getting one. I just haven't decided what one. So, but that's a conversation for another day. So my next regret in life was not saying yes to opportunities sooner. I felt like there was a time in my life where I didn't believe I could do certain things, and I would self-sabotage a lot of opportunities because I believed I wasn't ready, or I didn't believe I was capable of achieving these things. And this has happened to me in different industries. This has happened to me with my jobs. This has happened to me with my businesses that I've started. This has happened to me with content creation. Like, every single niche or everything I've ever done, an opportunity, a life-changing opportunity has come to me, and I have somehow sabotaged it, questioned if I could do that. That's because I didn't say yes, or I'd find a reason to say no, or find a reason to think I wasn't qualified. Maybe it was the disbelief in myself, or the disbelief that that person saw that potential in me. But I wish I said yes to certain opportunities earlier. I'll just give you an example. There was an opportunity that came to me early in my graphics design business journey. I made an intro for Sherlina. She is a big influencer. She was big back then, she's even bigger now, and I've always loved her content. I still love her content, and I was watching her YouTube channels as I always do. I just saw her intro and I was like, this could be, upgraded a little bit. Like, we can give her a little bit of an updated one. So just out of fun and boredom, I created it. And I created it. And then I tagged her, she saw it, she wanted it, and she promoted me. Like, her promotion changed my life and my business. Like, it literally took my graphics to the next level. I was getting orders after orders after orders after orders after orders. Like, so much that I was like, I couldn't personally keep up. And because I didn't have like a proper business set up in place, I wasn't like ready for that load of customers. But anyway, I proceeded, I went through and whatever. But an opportunity arose where her manager at the time, I don't know if it's still her manager reached out for more of a long-term thing, and for me to like create, these nice edits. And this was before TikTok was a thing. This was before like Reels was a thing. This was like probably just before they became such a big thing. And I remember the opportunity came, and I literally self-sabotaged it, and I said like, no, this is not for you. You're not ready for this. Like, why you? Do you get like this little voice in my head that I tell you guys about? Literally stopped me from the opportunity. And I wish I had said yes at the time and taken that risk and let her decide if I was ready for it, or if I was not capable of doing it, and then like gone from there. But like, I had already I already had the doubt in my head, like, you can't do this. So no, you're not gonna take the risk and embarrass yourself. And that's one of my biggest regrets. I've had a few of those opportunities, even with certain jobs that's landed on my lap. I've just felt like, oh, you're not qualified for that. You're not qualified for that kind of money. No. And I've spoken myself out of multiple opportunities. So if you get an opportunity and it's landed on your lap, they've come to you for a reason. They've liked your work, they've liked your talent, they've seen your CV, whatever it is, they have come to you for a reason, and you've got to trust and believe that they know what they want from you. Like, if you have that self-doubt, because not everyone does, some people just know like, I'm good at what I do and you need to hire me, and some people just question it. And if you're like me, don't question it. Just say yes, see how it goes. If it works out, it works out. It might take you to the next level. It might even push you to, take your skills up a notch. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And maybe that was just a lesson for you to learn and to take on your life journey. So yeah, that's probably one of my biggest regrets. So the last regret, and this is actually probably the biggest one out of them all. I know I've said this for a few, but I'm actually genuinely mean this one, because this is the longest one, one of my longest regrets. That this happened for over a long period of time, and that's giving a fuck what people think. I feel like I only just stopped giving a fuck what people think, like in the last year and a bit. And it's the fact that it took me that long. From secondary school, I was very much a people pleaser up until probably like 25, going into 26. It wasn't until like my 27th year that I really stopped giving a fuck what people thought about me and just done me. It's held me back in so many areas of my life. That's probably where I'm at today, in a sense, if that makes sense. But the important thing to remember, if you are a people pleaser and you do care what people think, you just need to remember that people are gonna have something to say regardless. You can't please everybody. Someone's always gonna have something negative to say, especially if you're on like a platform like social media. You can't please everybody. There's gonna be something you do that someone's not gonna like. So it's like, do you. Whether it's positive, whether it's negative, someone's gonna have some shit to say. Do you? Like for me, there was times like in friendship groups where I just didn't want to be a part of certain things. I didn't want to go to certain events. I didn't want to go to certain parties or socialize with certain people, be associated with certain people. But I just said yes to keep the room or keep the peace happy, because I didn't want to be like a burden or seem like I'm, you know, like a problem because I'm the only one that doesn't want to do whatever everybody else wants to do. And that's the problem right there. You have a voice. You are allowed to have your opinion. If you don't want to do something, or you don't like doing something, or you don't like how someone is moving or conducting themselves around you, say no and remove yourself from the equation. Whether they think, oh, you're so boring, or you're just this, or you're just moody, or you're just whatever names they have to call about you, then that's just what it is. At the end of the day, I'd rather be boring than be doing something I don't want to do, because in them situations I felt uncomfortable because I was doing something I didn't want to do. I was attending places I didn't want to go. I was surrounded by people I didn't want to be surrounded by, and in the end it was only me that was upset. They were having their fun thinking I was having fun, but it really wasn't that. I was upset, I was frustrated, I was pissed off, thinking, why am I here? I want to go to my house. This has happened in other places like work, in my old previous jobs, where some of my jobs was I wasn't happy in, and I would just say yes to just because your managers asked you, so you just say yes. And then at the time it was just like, it wasn't even making sense. So people pleasing is a really, really bad, I don't want to say habit, what is it? A bad trait to have. And if you do have it, please start working on it as soon as possible, because it only affects you in the end, and you was put on this earth to live your life and not to adjust it to other people's. And the quicker you learn that, the more at peace you'll be, because you will realize the choices you're making is for you. It's not for your mom or your dad. It's not for your brothers or your sisters. It's not for your best friend or your cousins or your friendship group or the boy you're dating or your boyfriend or your partner. No, it's for you. At the end of the day, it's for you. You have one life for you that you need to live. And this is why I push out this channel so much, because I want you to focus on the importance of yourself. Don't be like me, regretting, giving a fuck about what people thought and holding me back. An example of holding me back was for content creation. I wanted to do content creation years ago. Like, I'm talking probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I put it off because I cared what people would think. Like, who the fuck do I think I am starting a YouTube channel? Or who the fuck do I think I am putting stuff on Instagram? And the thing is, I had the balls to start, but I didn't have the balls to continue to actually see it through. Only now have I been very consistent, and I've ripped the balls, because on TikTok I grew my account to 4K. It's not the biggest, but at once I was on like 100 followers, and I've grown that by being consistent and not giving a fuck what people think. Like, I was posting stuff about cars, I was posting stuff about my life, and people say, oh, why do you always talk about these stuff? Because I fucking like these stuff. Like, if you don't fuck with my content, you don't fuck with my content. Like, bye. Like, someone out there does fuck with it, the very people that are watching this video. So it's like, if I cared what people thought, I wouldn't be uploading on my YouTube channel to this day. If I cared what people think, I wouldn't be posting on social media at all. If I cared about what people think, I would be so focused around everybody else and not myself, and that's just not what my channel is about, and no, is that what my life is about. So that is one of my biggest regrets, because I feel like it held me back for years. When I look back at my younger self and how I allowed myself to let people like that affect my choices in life, I feel bad. I'm just like, I wish you knew better. I wish you knew sooner that these people's opinions don't matter. It doesn't define you whatsoever. Just live your life. Live your life. And that is how I'm going to end this very video. So I want to thank you for coming to my little TED talk on my YouTube channel. And if you guys can relate to any of these regrets, or if you've been through something similar, or you're currently going through something like this now, where you're questioning whether that's going to uni, friends, family, money situations, or even like being a people pleaser, definitely hit me down in the comments and we will continue that conversation over there. As always, if you guys are not already, follow me on my social medias, on my TikTok and Instagram, where I post every single day, whereas on YouTube I only post once a week. And I'm gonna love and leave you guys until my next one. Love you.